Today's video, we're going to be looking at this pretty beat up Silicon Graphics Impact 10,000.
We review old technology from games to old PCs, and don't forget the toys. Don't get ancient electronics. We cover it all.
So, before we get into this machine, kind of a disclaimer and a little bit of a story behind it. The story behind this thing is I actually picked this up with a lot of other things probably like 6 or 7 years ago. It was a long time ago. Maybe not that long, maybe like 5 years. It was a while ago. And it was from a local fellow collector of old machines, and he just, this was in his garage, he didn't know what to do with it, so he handed it off to me. Being at the old apartment, and being that this isn't a gaming machine, and gaming on old PCs is like my primary interest. So that being the case, I kind of stowed this away in my storage unit until I had time to maybe tinker with it, pull it out, tinker with it, do a video on it, something like that. Of course, that never happened. Anyways, flash forward 5-6 years later, and I'm still in touch with the gentleman I got this off of, and he's kind of getting back into the hobby a little bit. He wanted something to tinker with, so I think I'm going to hand this back to him, because he can probably find some more enjoyment in it than I have. Like I said, it's just been sitting in the storage unit. But before I do that, I wanted to do a quick look at this machine. Now, this is going to be probably a fairly quick video, and this is my disclaimer. I know nothing about this machine. Or very little. I've not really Googled it, at least not for a while. I haven't done research prior to doing this video. This is literally my first impressions of this machine. I haven't even powered this thing on, ever, at all. I'm not even sure it will power on. So, don't take this as kind of a review of this computer or anything like that. This is just a look at this machine with me, a very amateur sort of first impressions sort of look at this machine. Now, one of the reasons that I'm not going to be able to hook it up and try it out basically is because it doesn't use a standard VGA connection on the back, and I do not have an adapter or the right cable. And since I'm going to be kind of handing this off in short order, I don't really feel compelled to spend money on an adapter or a cable. Now, when I got this thing, I did get the matching monitor, which is a really nice and cool, like 19-inch Silicon Graphics monitor. Actually, I have it right over here. So there it is right there, and I was kind of planning to keep this because it is a nice monitor. It's a nice 19-inch. I believe the tube is a Sony tube, and it has like dual connections on the back, and one of those connections is standard VGA. The other one, you can get an adapter for it, but it's a different kind of standard we'll look at in a minute. Maybe not standard, just connection. But anyways, yeah, this was a great monitor. Unfortunately, I didn't have room for it in the apartment, so it also sat in the storage unit. And somewhere between me picking it up and it going in storage, it stopped working. And basically it's doing, well, this. I'll put an image on the screen right now. Now, before you all start yelling at me, caps, 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 it needs the caps replaced, the capacitors, that is not the problem. Yes, I also thought this monitor was worth saving because it's a nice monitor. And I actually had a guy, an engineer that is quite familiar with these monitors and has worked on these specific monitors in the past, look at it. And unfortunately, we narrowed the problem down to a faulty video processor chip on the board in here. And although it can be fixed, it was really not worth the money for me to fix it. So, currently I'm not sure what is going to happen with this. Fortunately, I do have some old video footage I took of this thing in action before it went to storage. So, let's take a quick look at that. Alright, so this is a model GDM5011P. And if we look down here, it has two connectors. It has the 13W3 connector for SGI workstations, and it has a standard VGA port. So since I've never fired this thing up before, I think to test it, I'm just going to get like a Pentium 3 computer that I know that works,
And I'm just going to hook it up to the standard VGA, and then I will test this monitor and see if it works. Alright, so I've got everything plugged in. So let's see if the monitor powers up. Okay, so far so good. Power light came on. Nothing on the screen though, like, you know, sometimes you'll get a no image or something like that. I better check ahead. I better check down here to see. There's probably something to switch between. Okay, I'm going to power up the Pentium 3 machine I have hooked up to it. Okay. Now I probably have to switch. If it's set up for that 313. Wait, no, there we go. There we got an image. And actually looks pretty decent. Huh. Nice. Although I'm going to get an error here because I don't have the mouse or keyboard, or I don't even have a keyboard plugged into it, but yeah, keyboard failure. Maybe it will still automatically go into Windows. Just want to see what it looks like. Let me turn off the lights. Okay, well it's definitely working, so that is really cool. This isn't... I just kind of hooked this thing up really quick, so I don't even have the mouse hooked up. So I just wanted to see if the monitor worked. But yeah, you probably can't notice it on the camera, but it's actually, I believe it's slightly curved. It's not actually a flat screen. It has a slight curve to it. I think it's kind of hard to tell, but it feels like there's a little bit of a curve to it, rather than you know, like my Diamondtron and my G420, which are completely flat screen. So yeah, I'm not quite sure the max resolution of this monitor and stuff. I'm going to go check that in a minute. Like I said, I just wanted to see if it worked or there's anything. I mean, it can use a little bit of calibration, I think, some centering and whatnot, but yeah, awesome, it works. So now I just got to get one of those 3W13 cables through the magic of editing, because I haven't even tested. This is the first footage I'm filming for this video, so I haven't even fired up that the Indigo 2 machine. So, but yeah, monitor works.
Okay, so yeah, it is a shame that this monitor is no longer functioning. I gave it an honest shot to see if I could fix it, but it just, the price for the new chip and then the labor and, you know, to put it in, it just wasn't worth it to me. So that's unfortunate. It would make a great, like, XP machine monitor or Windows 98 sort of machine monitor. Anything really, any classic machine monitor. But anyways, let's take a quick look at this thing before I hand it off and get rid of it from my collection. Silicon graphics. It is an Impact 10,000. I believe LGR did a better, like a video on a functioning one of these a few years back. So if you're interested in these, look up his video. So if you want some more in-depth look, definitely check his video out. But yeah, this is how I got this thing. It's pretty rough. There's a little door that used to go here. It's missing. I've been told that's a pretty common issue with these. Top's pretty scratched up. Basically, these were, as far as I know, like workstation machines. They were used to do, like, well, I think they were used in some instances for like computer graphics. There's famously a Silicon graphics machine that was used in Jurassic Park. Pretty sure it wasn't like this model. I think these were sort of mid-grade models. They were still obscenely expensive at the time, but I think there were more powerful ones that were used specifically in Hollywood, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, it looks like we have a big old power button here. Interesting plastic case, interesting color. This was from a time when everything was beige as far as computer cases go, and to have this sort of indigo color is, I think that's indigo or some kind of like a purple. I think there was another one that had more of a bluish indigo case, and this one had more of this purple case, and it's just weird. It's very eye-catching. So I'm not sure what this is, and this might be just a blank plate. I think I can see a hard drive in there. This might be a bay, which would usually maybe put a CD drive. I'm not sure. It looks like maybe you could put floppy drives here. But I'm not sure. So So here's the top. If we want to take a quick look at the top, like I said, it's pretty scratched up. So let's turn it around and let's take a look at the back of this thing. So I also want to say this thing is monstrously heavy. I mean, it's not horribly big. I've dealt with plenty of computer, desktop, and tower cases bigger than this. But this is like, it is heavy. It feels like it's filled with gold bars or something. It's just really heavy to the point that this thing's pretty sturdy that it's on. Again, excuse the mess. I'm still sorting this room out. I was kind of worried it might break this thing. It's very heavy. But anyways, let's take a look here. Remember, if I get this information wrong, remember this is just this is like a brief first look at this thing. I did no prior research. So, of course, that's a fan, probably for the power supply, standard 3-prong right there. Then we have a label here. This is an Indigo 2. Okay, so Silicon Graphics, Indigo 2. And then it looks like we have 4 PS2 ports. And we have an image of a mouse, so there's just 4 specific mouse ports. I mean, I'm sure you could connect a keyboard as well. I do not have a keyboard for this. I'm guessing you would connect a keyboard here. Oh, okay. Here is I think it's obscured a little bit by this sticker from Rope. Sorry, I'm reading it from a weird angle here. Interventored or something. Right there. This item has been... Oh, inventory. Please do not remove this label. Oh, okay, it's been inventoried. Anyways, yeah, okay, that looks like a keyboard symbol there. So, okay, it looks like we have dual PS2 ports, like 2 meant for a keyboard and 2 meant for a mouse. It's kind of unusual. Connectors here. This says network. So it looks like that's some kind of network connector. I guess this looks like a parallel port of some kind, but I'm not sure. That picture up there isn't too helpful. It almost looks like a monitor, but I'm not sure. And then we have more information right here with the model number and all that good stuff. And then down here, that looks like another network port. And then there's like a blank there for another one. And then we go over, and that's a SCSI port of some sort, some one of the newer type SCSIs. And then over here, it's kind of interesting because this looks like audio. Yeah, there's like a headphone jack and a microphone jack and a plethora of audio ports, which I don't usually expect audio ports in a workstation server, like workstation/server type machine. So that's interesting. And then it looks like we have room for expansion slots. I have no idea what kind of expansion cards this thing takes, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And this looks like a video card of some sort, because I know these machines use this 3W3 or W3 connection. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but this isn't like a special, like, separate standard. This just outputs VGA, but the wiring's different. And to add confusion, other companies use this kind of port as well, like Sun used it as well, but the wiring is different from, say, Silicon Graphics. So if you have an adapter that's like from this standard to VGA, and you have the one meant for Sun computers, it won't work. It might even damage something because the wiring's different. So this will work with standard VGA monitors, but you do need the correct adapter. Now next to it is another connection, and I would say that is also video, but I think that is 9-pin, and I'm guessing it's not EGA CGA. So I'm not 100% sure what that is. That might be standard VGA. There are some monitors that use weird, like, 9-pin connector VGA. I actually have a monitor like that, but I don't think I'm going to be brave enough to test it on this in case, you know, the wiring's weird or different. And also, it's in a weird corner there, and I don't feel like pulling it out. But yeah, I'm not sure 100% what that is, but it could be VGA. Okay, so now I just got to figure out how to open this thing. We'll take a look inside, fumble around inside. I have no idea what anything's like in there. And then I think to finish the video up, we'll at least plug it in and power it on and at least see if it powers on, if we get smoke and sparks or not. But unfortunately, yeah, we won't have a display to hook up to it. Alright, I just did a little bit of research because I'm trying to figure out how to open this thing up. This is a 13W3 connector, I believe that is the name for it, and it is VGA, but it's very fiddly. Apparently it does kind of like a sync on green, so it's going to be really picky about what monitors will work with it. So even though you might have a VGA monitor and you might have the correct adapter, it still might not work because it's one of those computers. It's very picky apparently about the display, which I'm assuming wouldn't have been a problem for me if that official Silicon Graphics CRT was working, which it is not. This apparently is for like 3D glasses or something. I'm not sure. Anyways, I'm going to flip it back around, which I dread doing because it's so dang heavy, and then we'll see if I can open it up. Okay, so to open it, I have to take this front plate off first. You push these tabs down, and that's pretty easy. Wow, I can tell the color difference between the this purple and the outside of the case. Much brighter. That would be closer to what it would look like. The original. Nothing in this bay. I do see a hard drive down here. So let's take this case off. Supposedly, I think it's these two. Okay, and then it lifts up. Sorry if I'm in the way. Okay, there we go. And this case comes off. And, yes, interesting in there. So, okay, let's take a look. Alright, let's take a look at this thing. We've got, looks like a standard, 2 gigabyte quantum SCSI drive. Very interesting. Looks like there's another connection for a SCSI. But it looks like it connects to the main board through this ribbon cable. No, it doesn't connect to me. It connects to this bay over here. So, okay, I don't know. Looks like here's the power supply. Don't know. Well, that looks like the power connector, which doesn't look quite standard. Looks like a dreaded Dallas battery and another some kind of connection cable, and then we've got memory RAM down there. Don't know if that's standard or not, but I'm guessing this could accept a lot. And here's that video card, big heat sink on it. But what intrigues me, analog devices. Yeah, what intrigues me is these connectors here, because, hold on. Okay, we'll look at it from a different angle here. There's a fan here, like a case fan. But I don't know what the heck. This looks like a SCSI style connector, but it looks like there's another one, and this card is hooked into it. So my guess is it's some kind of Silicon Graphics proprietary connector. I'm not sure, although this looks like ISA, or maybe it's EISA. If it's EISA, it might be EISA. Which, that Dallas battery, usually EISA boards have a Dallas battery in them to like save the settings for configuration for the slots. But if it is EISA, then a regular ISA card should work in it. So that's interesting. I think that's what it is. Not sure. I guess I can try to take this card out. Okay, let me try to pull this card out and see what lies beneath. There's some interesting, there's like more connectors here. Yeah, I have no idea. This is way outside of my wheelhouse. Okay, well this is kind of neat. This thing, there's no screws or levers, right? It just pulls down. Doesn't take too much force. And there you go. That's kind of cool. There's some, chips down there. Looks like we've got an LSI chip there that's pretty big. And yeah, I think those definitely are EISA slots. So I wonder if you could theoretically run like MS-DOS on this machine and turn it into a DOS gaming machine. I don't know. I don't know what kind of CPU is on this thing, so maybe it's some kind of weird CPU. It won't work with DOS, but that would be weird and interesting. Okay, so here is that video card removed, and yeah, it uses this weird connection right there. There's, what, 4 of them, and then over here it looks like what we have is 3 EISA slots compatible with 16-bit or 8-bit ISA cards, so that's kind of interesting. Bunch of chips, not really familiar, couldn't tell you what any of them do. Just see some familiar names, LSI, Intel. I don't think those are CPUs, but I haven't really taken a good look at them. If they were, they'd be like, they kind of look like 386s, but yeah, I don't think those are CPUs. I'd have to take a good look at them, but I'm pretty sure with this machine is from what, like mid 90s, 95-ish. Well, I don't know. I'm sure it would be something way more high-end than a 386. I'm guessing the CPU might be under this thing, but I don't know how to lift it out. It had these weird screws on, like, springs, so I don't think these are supposed to be, like, completely removed. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna bother. Let me go do some research real quick and actually find out exactly what kind of CPU is in this machine, and if it's worth the trouble of lifting this thing out right here. Don't know what these are too. They kind of look like screws, but they don't. I spin them and they don't really do anything, so who knows? Okay, so I did a little bit of research, and I actually I watched LGR's video on this machine just to see if he removed this part right here, so I could see how he did it, but I don't think he did. So yeah, it has a MIPS CPU, I think running at 100 and something megahertz. Never heard of that CPU before, so I don't know if it was proprietary to like Silicon graphics systems. I do not know how much RAM is in this thing, but it can take up to 1 gigabyte, which is pretty insane for 1995. And right here is the audio, which is Crystal Audio, which is fairly decent for a workstation. Again, I'm kind of surprised that they bothered to include half-decent audio for basically a workstation. Well, not basically, it is a workstation. So, yeah, I also noticed in LGR's video, his machine was much higher end. He had some kind of, it was like 3 cards like this connected together. It was insane and massive. And the hard drive in his was like 150 or 200 gigabytes or something. I don't think, not 200 gigabytes, I don't think. But it was much bigger than this piddly thing here, if I remember it correctly, even though I just watched it like literally 5 minutes ago. But yeah, this seems like the beat up budget version of the one he featured. But yeah, I still have no idea how to lift this thing. So I think we're going to wrap this video up. I'm not really sure what else I can do here since I can't actually show you it doing anything. But, well, I'll put it back together and then I'll plug it in. We'll fire it up. At least see if it powers up. And then that'll probably be it. Okay, actually I think that is the CPU right there. It's like on a daughter board. I see a fan connected to the heatsink. I don't know if that's stock or if that's just a fan someone slapped on there. I think to get this off, there might be 2 screws that we have to unscrew and then slide this out. But all we're going to see is a heatsink anyways. Unless I feel like going through the effort of pulling the heatsink off, which I don't. So let's just plug this in and power it on. It should do a little chime, kind of like a Mac. And well, we'll see. Okay, alright, are we ready? Keep the top of the case off in case there's any smoke or anything, but I think it's fine. I mean, I don't see a lot of like dust or crud in there. The caps, from what I can see, look good. I give this thing like a 75% chance of working. It's been in storage a long time, but it was climate controlled storage, so not that helped the monitor, but yeah, let's see. Okay. There's power light. Alright, well, I hear the chime. I don't see any weird smoke. This light turned from green to orange. Don't know what that means. I can hear it doing things. Drive spinning up. Looks like it's searching. It sounds like it's actually loading an operating system. I don't know if you can hear that. Well, it stopped making the noise. But yeah, it did sound like maybe it was loading up some kind of OS or something. Light turned green again. So maybe that's a thing with this machine. It's green, and then when it's in some kind of like post mode or something, it turns orange, and then once the operating system is up, or maybe that's also like, maybe that's a dual LED for like hard drive activity. So so instead of like how most computers have a separate LED for hard drive activity, maybe it's like shared hard drive activity. I don't know. It sounds like it's working. It sounds like, I bet if I could hook this thing up to a monitor of some sort, I would see an OS, or I'd see some kind of image. So it looks like it's working. Unfortunately, I have no way right now to hook this up to a monitor. And yeah, I think that's where we'll end it right there. So good news, it seems like it is working. I guess I didn't even have to use that screwdriver. Okay, that just restarted it. There is a restart switch right here, so... but anyways, why aren't you turning off? Anyways, okay, well whatever, it does seem like it works, so I'll report that. There it goes. When I hand this thing off to a fellow vintage computer collector who I'm sure will be able to enjoy it more than I have. So yeah, interesting machine, ridiculously powerful and expensive when it came out in the mid-90s, but not really my thing. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for exploring this interesting machine with me, and like I said, I'll see you in the next video.